Well, good afternoon. Today we're on a walk from our village centre, Monachil, to the hill fort known as el cerro de la encina, which roughly translated is the Holm Oak Hillfort. Anyway, I'll continue to record, but maybe I won't be in it. So today we're following the Monachil River Valley, and more precisely what is known as una acequía, an irrigation channel. This one's known as the albaricoque, which is, as far as I recall, an apricot, although I'm not sure if they're actually grown here. So here's your first view of La acequía. It's only a small channel, nothing particularly spectacular, but it's got its interesting pieces. This is obviously culverted there, that's something more modern, but there are other more ancient things. How far do these date back? Well, they're ancient, that's for sure. Do they predate the modern Christian times, go back to Arabic times? Don't know on this particular one. On others there's evidence. Some are likely to go back to perhaps Roman times. How far this one goes back I really couldn't know, but it's certainly an interesting one. If anything else, it's just a lovely walk. You can do all year round, and generally you're shaded by the various plants. This looks like bamboo bordering on the left hand side, and then you've got the steep hillside on the right. We're heading roughly in a westerly direction. It's February, so I suppose we're starting to see the signs of spring. Maybe we'll see something in blossom fairly soon. So from here on, the acequía just disappears. This is something that they often do. It just disappears into the hillside. Exactly how big these tunnels or culverts or whatever you might like to call them are, I really wouldn't like to say. Obviously somebody's done this by hand and a long time ago. This gives you an idea of the steepness of the valley at this point. From what I've read from the geological reports, at one time this was a glacial valley, although unlikely to be this low down. I think further or higher up towards the mountains, except Sierra Nevada, it was definitely glacial. Snow lasts practically all year round up there, although only in very shaded areas. It really tends to disappear by the time of at June. You really won't see too much more. Unfortunately, it's hidden by the cerro de Juenes, which is the hill that you can see here. When I say hill, bear in mind that Spain's very high, and I suppose back up there we're talking about something in the order of at the very top about 1,800 meters. So what's that? Something like 5,000 foot maybe. My friend the Alsatian dog, who's always there whenever I come this way. I wonder if he's going to wake up and say hello. Have you got anything to say? I don't think so. Have you? No? Nothing to say. So these acequias, sometimes they're for irrigation of the land, others for driving meals. We're just coming up to an old, well, I'd call it semi-abandoned one, San Pedro. Sometimes they're purely for that, other times they're for driving small hydroelectric plants, of which there are, or were, well in fact are, a number in the valley. Some are operational, some are not always operational, and some are in a total state of abandonment. Not sure if we can see the mill outflow here. I'll have a try. Can't really see it, I don't think. So high up here is the Hillfort. You can't really see much evidence of it. It goes back several thousand years and has been excavated, and the site is really actually very well labelled and explained. Anyway, the acequia is going to reappear. I'll just walk around and see it exiting the tunnel. It's a little bit hidden under the undergrowth. And here it reappears, meanders round and disappears yet again. Now here we've got the first signs of spring. These are possibly almond trees. There might be cherries. I'm no botanist, I really don't know. I suspect there's terrible camera work going on at the moment as well. I'm really just sort of walking and talking. Hopefully the camera's picking up something that is worth looking at. So here is the mill from a distance. I still believe I think it's inhabited, but no longer works as a mill. And if you're lucky, you'll see a horse or two in the stables here. This is a riding school. The white buildings you'll see in front are the village cemetery. And here is the acequia again reappearing. You get a better idea here of the size of the excavation. I suppose a man on his knees went through and did that. It's quite amazing, really. This is quite a small one, relatively speaking. Others that are on the other side of the valley, you can see that a man could easily have walked it and made his way through it. So the valley's now just starting to open up, and it's full of small holdings, really. I didn't think I'd find any oranges. Part of the reason of coming here was to show an orange grove to somebody who said, "Show me an orange grove." Well, there you go. Not quite an orange grove, but there are some oranges down there somewhere or other. I hope I'm pointing the camera in the right direction. I know I've been following an awful lot of people on YouTube, and I probably told them, oh, you know, I live in Granada. Well, this is southern Spain. I suppose we're something in the order of maybe 60, 70 miles from the coast due south, and I think Monachil, the actual village, must be something in the order of about 600 metres, coming onto 2,000 foot high up, and it gets cold here. Winters can be very, very cold. We do get snow down at our level, maybe once or twice a year, far less these days. It used to be common in the winter to be scraping ice off your car, but that over the last 5 or 6 years has really dropped off. The high mountains do get an awful lot of snow. In fact, there's a ski resort there. It's the most southerly ski resort in the whole of Europe. Not a sport that has ever really attracted me. Building snowman maybe, or igloos. Now if you look closely here, I think you can see the work of more modern man. It looks to be concreted into the hillside, which probably makes for a more controlled flow. Probably doesn't irrigate the lands nearby quite so much, so whether that's a good thing or a bad thing I really don't know, but it's very common. In fact, this acequia has another name, La Estrella. La Estrella is the star, and further down the valley you'll see evidence of that. It does divide. These things are never totally clear as to what's what. I found several that I haven't been able to identify on maps as yet, and often there isn't a huge amount to them, but they make for interesting walking. So temperature wise, we'll probably be down probably about 5 or 6 degrees today. Hola. At night, and the gauge on my car was reading at one point 18 degrees, and there's snow forecast. I mean, it's just totally crazy. This gives you an idea of the field system that's there. Nothing really showing itself as such as to what it might be growing. As you can see, it's a good place for dog walkers. Now, what's this one caught? Oh, I'm not sure we really want to know what this is, but there you go, it's on camera. Poor little beast. So we're just coming into the entranceway to the Hillfort. You can follow the acequia following this path. I have done. It says it's dangerous and should only be used for the people who are using it to control their outlets. But it makes for a nice walk. But anyway, we're heading on up. I think I've already mentioned I've been following many channels over, I suppose, following lockdown, and had lots of interchanges with some very interesting people, and I've always wanted to get out and get more of what I've seen and witnessed out here onto something like YouTube, where you tell people what it actually is. The bulk of what I've done so far been posting on Instagram, which is a far easier place to do something quickly. So this is a bit of an olive grove. You can start to see how it's been terraced over the years. Again, I wouldn't really like to tell you what that dates back to. Could be Roman times, could be later. Anyway, leave it there for the moment. Up on the hill there you can see the cemetery of the neighbouring village, Huerta Vega. The rocks that you find in this particular part of the valley they seem to be fairly young conglomerates. So some of the ground here is not very stable. Here we get the first sight of the Hillfort. Just have a try and see if I can focus in from a distance. Quite a spectacular structure, actually, looking at it from a distance. And it's really well hidden. I've been around these parts, well, I suppose I could say 25 years, but really I've been coming regularly to this valley for maybe the last 15, and since lockdown, well, I moved to live more permanently here, but we never knew this Hillfort was here. We knew of it, we just didn't know where it was. You say Hillfort and you think, oh, well, something you see from a distance, but it just merges itself into the background. It's quite surprising. It was when I came across here, when I came across it, sorry, I was just following the acequía from further downland and came across it, so it was a real surprise. I'm not sure if we'll find any fruit still on these olive trees. I believe it's late for that. I can't see anything there. Bound to be one or two that never fell. On the huge fields or valleys where these are grown commercially, they'll bring in special machinery which vibrates the hell out of the trees to get them to fall. But more traditionally, this was done, and still is on small holdings, done by somebody beating the tree with a stick or climbing up to shake them down. It's getting a bit steep now. So these signs here tell us of the kind of things that they've discovered through the investigations about the agriculture, the type of livestock and hunting and metal, which tells you that it's characteristic of the Bronze Age. Quite how long that goes from, I couldn't tell you. This is you're starting to see the valley open up now down towards the city of Granada. It tells us that peas and chickpeas, wheat, and various herbs, lavender, mint, and other such things have been discovered and claimed that's what they used to use. This is interesting. This is obviously an old olive tree that we see here. It's clearly been cut back, and there's nothing stopping it. It's growing and regrowing. It will be probably hundreds of years old. The Hillfort, there's there looming above us. And although it's February, when the sun is out and there's no wind, it's actually pretty warm. And the moment you walk into the shadow of one of the trees, then the temperature just plunges. Such is life over here. I don't know if we'll be lucky today, but you'll frequently come across a shepherd taking his flock of sheep and goats up through these hills. You can normally hear the bongling of their bells before you see anything, and I can't hear anything at the moment, so maybe we won't be lucky today. I'm sure it's not on its own. This Hillfort, I'm sure there must be others. It's the only one that I can say that I definitely know of. Websites, I think the Neolithic one point to huge amounts up in the north, in the Basque country. Whether that's because there are more people investigating these things and they've yet to get around to doing that down here, I don't know. Now, here's an interesting board which tells you what they used to do with their dead. So it gives you an idea of the kind of huts that they lived in, and below the ground floor, well, that's where they buried their dead, which is quite interesting. Now, this one gives you a recreation of how they believe it was probably built, with all the different huts. And on the drawing here, it gives you an idea of the parts that have been actually investigated. Okay, so what remains now is to take the steep path into well, the bastion perhaps would be the right word. And might even do some citizen science. As far as I understand, the white inlaid bricks indicate the level to which was discovered and has subsequently been rebuilt. At least that is my understanding. So you can see now down below the mill, St. Peter's Mill, where we were towards the start, and you can see the acequía snaking its way around, and the valley with its small holdings, where Springers is really yet to fully arrive here. This is probably all being shot in the wrong direction, but anyway, this is perhaps the main entrance, and I came equipped with a compass, but probably with the direction of the sun. At the time of the day you don't really need it, but I don't know if you can see the compass. You probably can't. I don't know what happens if I tilt it, but this is on the eastern side. For those that are interested in that kind of thing. Often the sun rises late here. When I say late, and now we're looking in the completely the other direction, so we're looking west. So roughly there, the big hill that you can see to the centre right blocks the sun. About today, early February, perhaps about 9:15, 9:30, the sun peaks above it. Obviously in summer it's much earlier, and the sun's moved over. Fortunately you can't really see the snow, but actually I'm just going to focus in over here, and we might actually get some patches to show you. So let's see if we can come in there, and there might be some snow there. I can't really tell. It could well be, or it might just be the colour of the rocks, but there is an awful lot of snow on the high mountains. We're talking about 11,500 feet for the main peaks, and there is snow right down to about 1,500 foot, which I suppose about 4,500 feet. But really, where it's solid snow, you're talking about probably 6,000 foot. So a final look at the board. This tells us that there were 3 distinct zones or phases when the Hillfort was built, starting from the main Bronze Age period, from 1750 before Christ to 2000 before, and then the late two different lake phases. So I suppose the earliest, or the most recent part, was about 1,450 years before Christ. At least that's what that says here. This gives you an idea of Granada, where the fort is, and this places you on the corner of Spain where we all are. So here's the upper part of the fort, the lower part of Monachil, which is where I live, which is known as the Barrio, the neighbourhood of Monachil, separated from the village where we'll be wandering back to, which you can't really see from here. And the surrounding hills, lots of paths, lots of places to walk. A totally different landscape to that which you'd find in the UK, I think. Right, so we're heading back off down through the path. This is the south entrance that we can see here. It's a bit steep here. I think I'm going to switch off as I make my way down here. We're just going to go off the beaten path a little bit here to get a view over an interesting feature that forms part of the hill fort. There's a clear path marked here. I don't suppose I'm going somewhere where I shouldn't be, but anyway, just the other side here there's something we'll probably get a good view of. I haven't actually been here before precisely, but so if all fails, go onto the backup phone. This little peak that you can see here has got a bit of a flat top. Now that's what is known as an error, E-R-A, and it's essentially a threshing green. So crops will be brought up and placed there, and one supposes animals would then thresh it to separate the useful parts from the less useful parts. It's something you often see in the most surprising places around here. So high up there is the error. We're at the lower part of the hill fort town now. That's where we were looking over towards it, and we're going to cross over the bridge and rejoin the acequía and head off back to the village, and I'll show you a little bit more as we go by, most of which you'll have seen coming from the other direction. Just to point this little bit out here, the excavations are taking place on this part of the hill, which is why I believe it's all covered up. Anyway, I wonder if the dead rabbit is still there. Okay, so for those who don't want to see a dead rabbit, then close your eyes now as we walk past the dead rabbit. I don't believe has really got bright eyes, the poor thing. Now the tree leans over. I suppose rather than leaning over, it's been eroded that way. Very big hollow in the side of it. I wonder if it's still alive. I think it is. Sort of like, looks like it's growing high up. Is this a Holm Oak? I'm not sure. There you go, for those who wanted to see an orange grove. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3. It counts for me as a grove. So we're just going to see the acequia emerge from its tunnel. We had a better view of it from this side. And there you go. Now we're round in the corner to the old mill, St. Peter, San Pedro, and the riding stables. Some horses being tended to. And high above we've got the Hillfort, although you really wouldn't know it was there, to be perfectly honest with you. Dog seems to have got very excited. I wonder if he'll come and say hello to us. Hello, and he can. Of course, this area here is well, semi-rural, I suppose, is the right description. But you can carry on walking up the valley, which I have done many times, and well worth it is too. Lots of other acequias departing, small hydroelectric power stations and all that kind of paraphernalia. And you'll frequently find cattle grazing. Never had any problems here with cattle grazing, but it can be a problem. And of the wild animals, I frequently come across mountain goats just appearing out of nowhere, sometimes heading off down the most impossible hills that you can, or hills, cliff faces, I think. So as I say, lots and lots of these walks that I've done over the last 2 or 3 years are all posted on Instagram. Maybe I'll get some of them onto YouTube as well. There's an idea of the type of rock that you can get on this side of the valley. Very young rocks, conglomerates, not fully formed. And here she blows. Heading off down to where we've just been. On flat ground again, heading back towards the village. These trees here almost acting as a dam or a weir for the acequia as it races by. Way up in the hill, you've still got the sunlight. We're down in the shadows at the moment, and temperatures are starting to drop. In theory, there is snow forecast, but it's not going to come here, I don't think. At least not down to our level. So we're now entering into the main part of the village. The river is down below. The acequía is probably underneath our feet. Can't really see it, but it will appear in a little bit. We'll see some cave houses here as well. You can hear the water as it's exiting the main stream. All of these are closely controlled by gate valves, which are only opened at prescribed times, as you can see here. So the acequía is just starting to reappear again. And this will be our last shot of it before we get to the town hall, I think. So this is the one of the main squares in the village, and the name of the acequía is quite clear here. So we're reaching the end of this part of the walk. There's only one more interesting part to see, I suppose, as far as the acequía is concerned. Building on our right hand side is the village town hall. The villages have a town hall. This one is right by the river, and just coming up you can see some staircases. And just below that, I believe, is the intake for the acequía. You can just see here. I'm not sure whether we'll be able to see where the weir is. There is one there, but it's hidden behind all of this undergrowth. Maybe we're able to have a see. Looking back in just a second, I think we might be in luck. And there you get it, the weir, the bridge, and to the right, the start of the albaricoque. The acequía de albaricoque.